Dream big, plan smart, build wealth. This is the TFS podcast, where money talk gets real and financial freedom is more than just a goal. Without further ado, let's dive in.
Welcome to another episode with TFS Wealthcast. Today, I've got a special guest and a dear friend. So we thought we bring Arjuna Rajawasan, who has been a friend of mine since bonkers years, I would say, grade one, grade one. And a dear friend who recently moved from beautiful Sri Lanka to Australia. So one of our episodes we did migrating in your late 30s. So I thought, why not? Let's bring Arjuna Rajawasan, ask some questions about his move. And also, this episode, we're going to talk about his experience in HR and how he's navigating different kinds of individuals for better performance or high performance, I would say. So, Arjuna, welcome.
Thanks, Pramu. Thanks a lot for having me as well. I think 36 years of friendship, and it continues to grow. So, pleasure to be here.
Arjuna, now, a lot of us know you from school days. You have captained cricket from junior cricket to first 11 cricket as well, and beyond. When you were playing corporate levels, you have captained there as well. So your leadership skills is in you. Now, apart from these leadership skills, that you have now gone into the HR, people management, and you have gone to the top level as well. So I want to ask you, before I get to too much about your migration, let's talk about your experience in your past, what you have done.
Sure. So I think, Pramu, it's been so I think after I left school, that was 2003 or 4. I think we all finished up playing cricket, and then we left school. So I wanted to continue with playing a bit of cricket. So I tried to play, or rather played for SSC for a few years. And then obviously I was studying as well while doing that. And then I did management and marketing in terms of studies. But then I always wanted to be in a corporate sort of environment. That was my goal at the time. So there was an opportunity that opened up as a management trainee in HR at Ceylon Tobacco. So that was it still is one of the primary sort of companies in the country.
So how old you were?
23.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was 23 at the time. And that gave me sort of, even though it wasn't management and marketing, but I wanted to join and I thought it's a good challenge. It's a controversial industry. So that was also a factor that drew it to me.
Yeah.
And I joined in. I had no clue about human resources and so on and so forth. But with some great sort of mentors and bosses along the way, I think I managed to sort of gain a lot of understanding, knowledge, and experience in the sort of sphere of human resources while being at Tobacco. And during that sort of journey, I was very fortunate to get some opportunities to work not only in Sri Lanka but also outside. So I spent a few months in Pakistan, in Islamabad, in Dhaka, then also a few years in South Korea, in Seoul, and also a few years in KL in Malaysia. So working with different types of people, different cultures, it really was a very immersive sort of experience. And then post sort of COVID, about 4 or 5 years back, I got a really good break at Fonterra in Sri Lanka. So I joined over there. And also right now I moved here very recently, as you mentioned, and I'm still with them here in a different capacity as well. So it's been a sort of great journey for me. And through those phases, I have applied sort of what I learned from school, what I learned from friendships. And when it comes to HR, it's all about sort of people management and also being very genuine, loyal, and straightforward. So I think those things that we learned from our school, also from sports, have come a long way in helping me to sort of get to where I am.
Okay. So, speaking of migrating late 30s or for us early 40s,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we are in that big force.
Yeah.
What was your experience so far? Before we get to the experience, why?
Yeah. So I think, Pramu, I think I had a few conversations with you also in the past, and amongst my sort of family as well. Um, I've always maintained that I want to be in Sri Lanka. That was something which was very fundamental to me.
Yeah.
And my sister moved to Australia in 2000, so that's 26 years back. And I was the only other sibling, so I made it a point that I had to take care of my family. Along the way, however, of course, as we know, circumstances change.
Yeah.
And at a certain point around 2020, 2021, when the situation was not looking so good, me and my wife had a conversation just to see if we can explore other opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's when we thought we'll try, and it made sense to sort of come here
Yeah.
for a few reasons. One was obviously family. My sister is here, plus sort of it brings her closer to her family as well. Many of her siblings are here. Also, primarily my network of friends that I can always fall back on. And more than anything, from the experiences that they had shared about how life is here, what opportunities it gives me and my family sort of to grow, and also for the kids, what opportunities it gives from a schooling, plus also from a growth and quality of life perspective. So those were the factors that I considered when choosing to try for here. We were
Okay.
fortunate to get whatever requirements passed through,
Yeah.
and now we're here. So,
Yeah. Okay. So when you guys are making, I mean, obviously, when you're making that decision, I remember you and I had quite a number of conversations about, certain things such as finances, finding the properties, etc., etc. So more than me explaining, why don't you share some insights to our listeners and to me? What was it like at the beginning when the conversation happened between you and your wife and children, obviously?
Yeah.
And how was it structured? The planning was structured, and how did you guys manage to execute it at the right time, I would say?
Sure. So I think, Pramu, one key factor when we consider this was obviously cost and sort of what we need when we come here. Because if the numbers don't work, then there's no point in us sort of making the effort to come here. Because, like you said, we are in our early 40s. So I've lived a certain life until now. I think I've gone through the stage where you start off, you're very raw and you scramble. I think we are just sorry, past that stage. And back home and wherever I was, we managed to maintain a certain level and a quality to sort of life in our family.
Yeah.
So one principle was I want to maintain that or better when I come here. Then you come to financials in terms of one, exchange rates, because whatever that we have earned is back home. And when we come here, at the time versus when you compare before, rates have fluctuated significantly. So that was a key factor in looking at how much do we really have as a pot of money. You need some back home. What can we bring? And does that then allow us to finance ourselves from a housing perspective, from vehicles, from schooling, and daily sort of expenses, rentals, and so on. So those were some of the factors beyond sort of the other factors that I mentioned that went into sort of the planning of how we can make it through. And then also sort of getting a bit further down the line, we planned it out, I believe, quite well, because thanks to many friends and network that I have here, we planned out sort of where we want to reside, which schools we want to get the kids into, in alignment with our values. And sort of my kids, we come from a mixed background in terms of religions, but they're both sort of baptized, and we wanted them to go to a good Christian school, be close to family and friends, and then we see if the numbers work based on all that. So and we mapped out a few options, made the early sort of calls. And I was very fortunate to get confirmations for both my kids quite early in the play, way before I moved here.
Yeah.
And then I made sort of the decision to have a conversation with my employer to see once I move here if there's any opportunities for me, because I wanted to secure something in my hand before coming in if possible, because otherwise it's a bit of a rougher road. So
Yeah.
that's sort of how I looked at it.
Yeah. So you managed to plan and have certain things in place before you make that actual the big move.
Thankfully, with the visa that I had, there was a window or a grace period prior to me having to come here.
Yeah.
So we used that period to secure sort of employment in my case, which was very fortunate.
Yeah.
Plus schooling, and even where we want to stay, potentially looking at what's the cost of rentals and houses and so on, and then to see if that all works out for us. So that phase we did, I would say, a good 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
And back home, I sort of sold my house 10 months before I came. So I assumed things would go my way.
Yeah.
And then I made certain decisions with vehicles and other stuff as well to be ready to go. So I did all that not me and my wife, did all that in the background to ensure that it's smooth once we come here.
Yeah. So you would have started this process once you actually make the decision, okay, we are moving, definitely going. Then this whole process, roughly how long did it take for you?
We took the call to come here maybe a good 18 months before I actually came.
Yeah.
And I would say ever since we worked on in terms of what plans, but execution of that, probably a good 8 months prior to me coming is when we really got down to it.
Yeah.
And I would say 3 months before I left, most of it was in place.
Okay. Okay. So when you make the move, right? So you come here, you've done obviously you did the plan and you execute it. You stuck to the plan, right? So that's one of the key things.
Correct.
Now, how is it for you guys now from, living such a long time in Sri Lanka, different culture, different ways of working, and I would imagine even the schooling system is different.
Yeah.
How was the change and how are you guys coping this change?
Yeah. So I think we also planned it in such a way that we came around the end of the year, because schooling starts in around Feb in Jan. So I came around October, just a couple of months before. My kids and family and wife came around mid-December. So they had a month and a half to settle in before school starts. That was critical for us because it's a big shift for the kids and they feel it. So we wanted some time for them to ease in here. So that was a big part of it. And that's what we sort of did by coming at that point. It also gave us some good weather in December, which is not too cold, which we are not used to. And also it gave us also the time as a family to settle in. I mean, go into a house and then furnish it and sort of get ready for the real battle, which starts when the schooling and the rest of it all starts. So we looked at it in that manner. And for us, it's been a big shift, a huge shift for us. Like any person who migrates, you'll have teething issues. So your kids will say, look, they want to do this and that, which they did back home, but it might not be relevant here. They want to go to a school that they went back home, but it might not work out here. So it takes time. As adults, we can adjust faster, but for them, it takes a bit more time. But I think since we are keen and clear that this is the path we want to go, we'll work around it. So there are a few teething issues which we are working on, but I wouldn't say that they're significant. So that's one. And then also it really helped for me in terms of from a financial perspective. The fact that I did have employment gave me a fixed amount that I know I'll get. And planning my sort of rentals and whatever other expenses based on that has really sort of helped me. So I have, to be very honest, from what I have back home, I haven't brought much yet because I managed to secure employment and I've been running with that for these few months. And it's so far been very positive in terms of the move. And also, I think the kids will probably take another month or two, but I think we're getting there.
So migrating to Australia, there's planning. After, there's planning.
Yes.
So during this planning, your income, so net income,
Yes.
household income,
Yeah.
that's a crucial part here,
Correct.
right? As you mentioned, expenses, some expenses pops up,
Yeah.
some don't. How important it is for you having that right budget that fits your family and your lifestyle, and what are the things that you do to make sure that you stick with it?
Yeah. So I think first, what we sort of, myself and Devindi, my wife, what we discussed was what would we bring in net at the end of the month, right? So then you've got your rental, you've got your groceries, you've got your school fees, you've got your expenses that have to be done without any question. Then you'll have certain other extras or wants that you might call it. So, I mean, what I adopted is something very similar to what you have been speaking about previously as well, from a sort of 50-30-20 concept, to keep some aside for later,
Yeah.
and then sort of keep half of it for your must haves, and then another percentage of about 30% for like to haves.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how I have sort of looked at it, and that has been sort of my model so far.
Yeah.
Of course, there's been a few expenses which are one off, which come upfront at the initial part, i.e., buying a vehicle or paying your bond and so on and so forth, which are not really monthly.
Yeah.
But keeping those aside, this principle is sort of what what we have adopted, and so far it has sort of worked very well.
Yeah.
But obviously, since I'm quite new here, it'll take some time for me to regulate into that
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of principle that I've been adopting.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So folks, it's very important. Just because I give a theory, or just because TFS, any of our guys gives a theory, doesn't mean it's going to work next 24 hours. As we know, Arjuna and I played cricket a lot. As we all have been learned and experienced in that sport, practicing the right thing makes you perfect, not practicing it every day. Right? Practicing your training in the correct way
Yeah.
will make you better,
Yeah.
not just for the sake of it training.
Yeah.
So especially this 50 30 20 rule, you got to start doing.
Yeah.
Once you start doing it, you will figure it out.
Yeah. It might shift, vary a bit, but that's the principle.
There's always going to be variables.
Correct.
Life is a variable thing itself. So but just having a little guidance and a guideline to stick. So that's amazing to see that you're doing that way. All right. So I'm gonna go to a different area. Now, this is something I always come to you as a friend. I come and ask you so many things about people management, because for me, you have been in the people management game way before the HR recruitment or whatever your employment that you started.
Yeah.
Right. So when you captained the under 13s, first 11, when you were head prefect at college, you were in the game. You were doing it right, and you did it very well too. So I want to ask you, how are you finding the shift from countries like managing people in Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Pakistan, a few other countries that you went there to manage people? How is it in Australia?
Yeah.
Are these guys too lazy, or?
I wouldn't say they're lazy. But I think, Pramu, it's a few things. Sort of like in my sort of experience so far in my journey, and it's been mainly Asia, Australasia. Sort of, I've not worked in Europe and wherever that side of the world. I see some distinct similarities and differences across. So when you take your South Asian sort of countries, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, that's mainly what I've worked with. There's a certain way of doing things. Then you take your Southeast Asian, which is your Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia sort of area, is similar but slightly different.
Okay.
You take your North Asia, which is your Japan, Korea, quite different. And then Australia, New Zealand is probably the other segment, which is also quite different. So I've been fortunate to be able to sort of wrangle with all of these folks in these different areas. But to the question that you sort of asked me, I would say principally a significant difference from South Asia to Australia is hierarchy.
Okay.
So that's something that I've noticed significantly here since I moved. Whilst, of course, respect for the office and the title is, I think, a prevalent factor across. How it manifests is different over there versus over here.
Yeah.
I see people, CEOs coming to work on a bike. I don't see that back home.
No.
Right? It never happens.
No chance.
Right? I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
But you would have a luxury.
Probably you might get run over by the janitor.
Exactly. Right? But you'd have a luxury vehicle and a driver bringing you in to office over there. Right? That's generally how it works.
Yeah.
But over here, you'll have a random guy riding a bike with a bag on his back.
Yeah.
And he changes clothes in the locker room and comes into work and he sits on a hot desk. He doesn't have a room.
Yep.
Right. And it's, if you didn't know he's the CEO, you probably will never know.
You will never know.
Right?
Yeah.
So that for me is a significant difference that I have noticed.
Okay.
So that's hierarchy. But of course, how it manifests, like how decisions are taken and how directives are given, I think it's very similar. You know what to do and you have to do it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of openness and challenge that I think happens here a lot more than what I've noticed back home.
Okay.
Back home, if there's a directive given, it's more you get it done. Here, you might actually question as to, is there a better way of getting it done? And bring that challenge up in a logical, diplomatic, professional manner. And you'd get a response in that manner as well. Of course, from what I've noticed, it all depends on people as well. There might be people who don't operate in that way. So then you'll find there are very autocratic or different types of leaders. But I'm talking in a generic sort of segment. I think it's a lot more open and challenging here compared to back home, and also less hierarchical overall.
Yeah.
Also, another significant difference I've seen is sort of back home, sort of the work culture is different in a sense, where not only back home, but South Asia, Southeast Asia, and even North Asia, where the hours you spend are significantly more in the office. And I'm talking in a corporate environment.
Yeah. These are large corporations.
Large corporates, right?
Yeah.
It's significantly different. Whereas here, it is sort of a given and a sort of natural thing where you would need to sort of clock off at a certain point.
Yeah.
And you'll have to probably pick up your kids from daycare or sort of, do ABC.
Yeah.
And you don't have generally domestic support or drivers and so on here. So your life is structured in a slightly different manner to those countries.
Yeah.
And that for me, moving from that side to this side is, I would say, another significant difference that I've seen. So hierarchy, sort of openness, and also work culture would be the three things that I've seen. But otherwise, if you take it just a step back, I think in terms of capability and also in terms of delivery, I think it's got its different ways of doing things. The distinct South Asian culture would be to do in a certain manner. The distinct Australian or this side of the world culture would be do it in a certain manner. But I think we all get to the same outcome, but probably get there in a slightly different way.
That's spot on. So now, this is some of the things that I have faced in my career here. I hear what you guys have done in Sri Lanka and certain things. I love it. It's a brilliant working culture. But then there are certain things I don't. As you mentioned, very, very different cultures. Now, one of the things that I like to know from you when it comes to the management of specific skill sets, specific professionals within a large corporation. Now, for us, I see a lot of investors or individuals who wants to create wealth. Now, for them to create wealth in Australia, you need to have different types of professionals around you. So pretty much you are hiring them for yourself. So you're the CEO, you're giving the directions for these guys what to do and expect them to deliver. In situations like yours, where you manage CEOs, or you're the HR head of HR, manage CEO, CFO, other board of directors, stakeholders, how do you guys, or how do you manage these skill sets for a common goal, which is the achieving the profit margins that you are, the corporate world you're looking for? What are the things that you guys do to make sure that you all stick with the same goal?
Sure. So I think, like in any, it's all the way that I look at it is, Pramo, it's all, I mean, you have friendships and loyalties and so on, but it's all, end of the day, it's a transaction. So you need to figure out how best to go about that transaction, be it in your profession where you could be trying to get a client to buy a property or loan, sorry, service a loan for a different purpose,
Yeah.
and then you'll have to work with various different people. It could be builders to designers to architects and so on. The way, similarly, we would have different stakeholders in my sort of environment as well. If there is no win for any one of those stakeholders, the interest and the commitment is lost.
Yeah.
So if it's two people, it's a win-win. If it's 10, it's got to be a win-win-win-win-win
Yeah.
up to 10.
All 10 has to win. Yep.
So it might be in different levels, it might be in different percentages.
Yeah.
But end of the day, what I have seen is someone has to see what benefit they get out of it. There has to be. It could be financial, it could be gratification from a self perspective, it could be just happiness, whatever it is, right? You've got to find out what is that touch point that stakeholder needs. That's how I look at it, at least.
Yeah.
And in my world, I would get maybe 5 different people, all senior corporate heads, but there might be 5 distinct personalities. A win for one might not be the same for another. So what I try to do is understand what's the deep rooted sort of requirement or need that they have. And there'll also be certain things which they have to deliver, which is sort of mandates given.
Yeah.
So delivering the mandate, they have to. But then what will really give them that motivation and that, say, factor of, okay, I want. So if I can figure that out, then catering to that at multiple levels would be sort of what I try to do from the middle, maneuvering all of them.
Yeah.
Similarly, I think for you as well, it's about how, I think we're having a few conversations during the past few days as well, how you can really get someone genuinely a win. Right? Otherwise, what's the point in us sort of doing this? So for me, it's one is like stakeholders need to see what benefits or wins that they would get. That's one critical factor that I would sort of look at. The other thing is also you need to see, the way I see it, any transaction again, personalities and the way people work are different.
Okay.
So you might find some people to be very introverted, closed and quiet, and some to be more open, externally sort of extroverted and so on. So it's again how you handle, right? So again, like I said, we all want to give them they want to win, we want to give them a win if you want to get a win for us.
Absolutely.
So how do you then maneuver to, because a win for some person might not be the same for another.
Yeah.
So it needs to be an understanding of, like I always say, what is really the requirement and the deep rooted sort of, let's say, compass or what they are looking for. If that can be figured out, I think that's 70-80% of the battle. The rest is what we are really good at, which is executing and sort of making it happen. So that's never the challenge. It's always figuring out what. If that can be done, in my view, you're 3/4 way there.
3/4 way there.
The last part is the relationship that you build. I think, again, that's very critical in your industry as well. Because it doesn't end. A client doesn't end with you giving him the capability to do one property. For you, success means he keeps coming back to you. He keeps referring others to you. And he sells you in a positive and a great manner to his network. That's really your win.
That's where actual you success
multiply success.
Absolutely.
So similarly, in my field as well, it's not how I manage one, but if that one can go and say to someone else, look, hey, this guy supported me in this manner. He's professional. He understands how things work, and I would recommend you to sort of work with him. That's a win
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
So the way you manage people's personalities and their sort of engagement and the way that you navigate that relationship
Yeah.
is critical. I think that's where you've excelled as well, obviously getting to where you have. And in my field, I think that's been a critical factor for me as well, which people have given me openly feedback on as well,
Yeah.
as being one of my strengths in terms of how I can, when required, go down to a certain level, when required, push up to a certain level. So I would say those are the sort of factors, Pramu, that in my experience have sort of been the critical elements of building these
Yeah.
bonds and relationships,
Yeah.
which get you results.
Yeah. That so basically, folks, what Arjuna was explaining, if you're getting professionals for yourself to create wealth, such as a mortgage broker, property advisor, buyer's agent, accountant, lawyer, list goes on. You gotta have the relationship built up first,
Correct.
understand the wins for that particular individual, and then find that middle ground that they both achieve what they desire to achieve.
Correct. There'll be a sweet spot for each person. It's
Yeah.
not trying to figure out what that is.
Correct.
Once you do that, then even if you get maybe 70%, 80% there, you're there. That's because
Yeah.
no one else would get that far.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. All right. So I think this is a brilliant an episode, especially coming after an episode that we did migrating in late 30s, right?
Yeah.
So, and having a actual person who actually migrated in early 40s with a full-fledged family here,
Yeah.
and navigating through certain budgeting tools, having certain goals to achieve. It's amazing to our listeners. So before we wrap up this episode, let's go to a little bit of a humor side of it.
Sure.
What has been the biggest surprise in terms of culture and workplace dynamics for you in Australia
Okay.
compared to Sri Lanka? Let's make it interesting.
Okay. You do also need to understand I work for a listed company, so what I say.
Yeah, exactly.
However, I think what I mentioned before, Prabhu, where basically I think the biggest sort of change, and from a humorous perspective, if we were looking at that, sort of would be, humor might not 100% be the case, but it's just how people are very different. A few things I see, right?
Yep.
I see in my workplace, which I really value, and it's extremely positive. I see kids all the time inside.
Okay.
Right? Simply because, I don't know, daycare wasn't working, or they couldn't go to school for some other reason, and the partner or the spouse is also employed.
Yeah.
And I see them sort of sitting in, having lunch, sitting by the person while they work.
Yeah.
And everyone's very welcoming and also positive about it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not the case back home, but that's unheard of.
Yeah.
It sort of doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's really humorous in that sense, but it's something which sort of opened my eyes to see sort of how different
you get surprised to see.
It's very
things like
surprising
that.
for me. That was something which, honestly, I've traveled here quite a bit, but I haven't worked here. So that was a huge eye opener. More than what I mentioned earlier about CEOs coming in a very simple manner that I've seen.
Yeah.
Right. But this was something which was very new to me. And playing around, having a chat with the guys, and it's very nice. But also something which was a big eye opener for me, because it's not something I've been sort of used to.
Yeah.
That I would say is one of the single biggest things that have sort of opened my eyes.
Okay. So if there's a cricket match happening against Sri Lanka and Australia, which color would you be wearing?
So I'll tell you something that happened last week.
Okay.
So Sri Lanka lost to Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Australia got knocked out of the World Cup.
Yeah.
So I was on a call with one of my senior stakeholders who works in New Zealand.
Okay.
He's a Kiwi. So he asked me, "Hey Arjuna, you must be feeling really bad." I said, "Why?" "No, your home country lost and your home country lost. And one home country is out, one home country lost."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, fine." But then I got to thinking, oh, now I need to decide which side I
Yeah.
sort of go to, right? So I think if it's at this stage, I'm very new. So it's
Yep.
still 1 foot here, 1 foot there. So
Yeah.
obviously I have to support Sri Lanka
Yeah.
as my home country
Yeah.
if there's a tussle between the two teams.
Yeah.
But I've always respected
Yeah.
the Australian team in any sport because
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the push and the
Yeah.
sort of intensity that they play the game with. That's
Yeah.
something which I think any sport
Yeah.
they relate to, and that's something I really, really
Yeah.
like to see.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, it's probably my heart is back home.
Heart is back home. Yeah. 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 That's. I think most of the Sri Lankans who live in Australia will agree. Heart is always back home.
Yeah,
It's something about it's not that you don't support Australia. Like for me, I've been living here 20 years, by the way.
Yeah.
So I actually live more in Australia than Sri Lanka.
yeah,
So for me, if I have to, what's your home country, automatically it's Australia to me.
yeah,
But
yeah,
there's a little something in,
Yeah,
in there.
Yeah.
You know, Sri Lanka is always there for whatever that reason.
yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an Aussie now, so
Yeah.
I don't think it'll. Have you picked up any Australian slangs yet?
Well, thanks to you guys, I have a few, and my other friends here.
What's your favorite so far?
Don't ask me that. I don't think I should be saying it. It's just a few slang that I picked up from you guys, but I usually don't talk in that manner.
In that manner, yeah.
My friends would know back home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have picked up a bit. Yes.
Okay. Good. All right. So folks, if you're planning to come to Australia, if you're living in Sri Lanka or any other country, any part of the world, important things: plan,
Yeah.
talk to your partner. That is also important. I think we did touch base in the last episode. She did brought it out. And then some people don't speak to their partner; they just plan. But make sure you do talk to your partner.
Yeah.
Very important.
Very important.
Have a budget. Yeah. Understand what you are looking to get out of this.
Yeah.
This big move.
Yeah.
Don't just come for the sake of it and hope for the best, right?
Correct.
Plan it.
Correct. Because the way I say it, Pramu, in our age, in 40s, like you said earlier, we are established, right?
Yeah.
In different levels. If you're making a move at this stage, it's not like you're 25 or you're 20, you're coming in as a student and you're hoping to make things happen the way you want. I know you came in those circumstances
very different,
and you
very,
made
very
it to a
different,
superb level.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
In my case, it's not. I cannot take a risk with my family. I need to make sure it's ironclad, concrete, rock solid.
Yep.
So planning, talking to your partner, budgeting is critical because you only have so much. It's not unlimited that you have.
Yeah.
So that's critical. Plus also one other factor I would sort of put in is, in my case, I'm fortunate to have you and a few other friends here, and you especially being in this industry and having the know-how and the experience have helped me significantly. On the assumption that someone doesn't have that, it would be preferable to have a conversation with someone like you or in a similar capacity, because
Absolutely.
that really helps to understand sort of some of the nuances and the nitty-gritties which are alien to us who migrate from a totally different environment, from taxes to rental processes and so on. I mean, even getting the house for me on rent was a significantly different process to what you would do back home. Significant. So knowing it and being given a heads up on it and understanding it prior helped me a lot to sort of do it smoothly and understand what I'm getting into. And I understood there's no hidden fees or no hidden, let's say, loopholes that are there, which I'm not saying it's the case back home, but it's not as structured as it is here. So someone needs to help you and guide you through that process. So speaking to whoever who can,
Yeah.
and ideally someone of your nature and your industry, is something I would recommend to anyone who's sort of coming here, because that'll help you a lot to be having peace of mind.
Yeah.
But more than that, also understand how you can go about it in a smooth manner,
Yep. Yep.
especially for us at this age.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I always it's not a we run a business, right? So end of the day, when we're running a business, doesn't mean everything that we do is a transactional.
Correct.
If we do what we believe in our business, in our brand TFS, what we believe is if we do the right thing to the customer or anybody, it may not be a customer.
Yeah.
That good karma
Of course.
will come around in whatever the form, right? So we believe in that. So I'm pretty sure there's a hell of a lot of other people in Australia who would do the same.
Correct.
to anybody. So like you said, absolutely yes. Ask the question, plan it well before you make the move. Right. So let's finish it off.
Sure.
Before I finish it off, can you give me 3 most important things if someone in Sri Lanka or any other country who are thinking to migrate to Australia, first 3 things, or the most important 3 things that they should do?
Sure. I'll keep it very generic, Pramu, not to people of my age segment and whatnot.
Yeah.
One is you need to be clear in your mind that this is what you want to do and not look back.
Okay.
Because I have as well, my options were many back home as well, but we took a call based on a rationale. So you need to figure that out, because it might not be for you otherwise. So figure it out as to what's your rationale and how do you want to make it work. Are you clear? Step forward from there. I would say that's first step.
Yep.
Being clear in your mind that you want to 100% do this. Second thing is planning. It might vary if you're young, if you're old, it might vary, but you need to plan financially. It's extremely critical, because it's not, it is significant cost you're talking about. And in a minute or in a month, you can wipe out 50-60% of what you've saved back home if you don't plan properly before you come.
Yeah.
You need to be aware of whatever the nitty-gritty is and plan. So in that, I think you spoke about talking to your spouse, talking to your friends, talking to others, do whatever, but make sure that you're clear on how you want to go about it in terms of planning. Number 3 is support. I feel that support on the ground is critical, especially for us Sri Lankans who are very used to that. If you're looking at an Australian going to maybe the USA, they might not have anyone over there, but still they'll be fine because it's all process oriented and that's how they are used to it.
Yep.
We are not the case. People in Sri Lanka depend a lot on networks, friends, and getting things done off the radar rather than in the process. So it won't happen the same here, but you need to touch base or liaise with someone here who can help you through that. That is where I would strongly sort of again recommend you or Tomorrow Financial Solutions and any other entity of that nature who you might know or might not know to help you through that, because ultimately your numbers and your finances are critical in you getting it.
Yeah.
The rest of it in terms of, like you said, the family and all that, yes, you have to work it out. I agree. But if you don't make this right, you won't be able to give the best for them. So that's the 3 most critical things that I would see for anyone coming here at any stage of their sort of career or life in that sense.
Okay. Arjuna, thank you.
Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed the single malt.
I did, as always. And thanks a lot, Pramu, to you as well. I think not because I'm your friend, but it's been a significant journey for you. I've told this to you many times.
Yeah.
Right. And as someone who has been always having your back and likewise, very happy to see sort of how things have progressed for you.
Thank you.
Professionally and personally. And our friendship continues to
Absolutely.
go on. And also, it's just, happy days,
Happy days.
a
Happy
conversation with you, having this chat and being able to professionally have a discussion of this nature is not something I would have dreamed of.
No way.
When we were in school. So this is actually very fun, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Arjuna. So there you go, folks. If you need more information, don't hesitate. Come to the website, make an appointment, speak to any of our team. We will help you what you should be doing, what you should not be doing as well. But end of the day, I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and Arjun and I managed to share a good set of information for you to make the next choice in the right way. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the TFS podcast, where we turn knowledge into action and big goals into real results. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this episode with someone working towards their next financial step. Now, with that being said, until next time, keep building.